Hello friends and welcome back to my channel, but if you happen to be new here, my name is Emma. I'm pretty much a normal girl. I work a 9-to-5 job and I enjoy lifting weights and keeping track of my journey kind of as a side hobby. So if you're interested in following along, I'd really appreciate if you hit subscribe. Today, however, I am going to be reviewing this bad boy, the new Polar Vantage M, which is an advanced running and multi-sport watch with GPS and wrist heart rate tracking. Now I need to say up front, I'm not a runner due to a permanent cartilage damage in my knee. However, I really want to give you guys the best review that I can and kind of run through some of the key features of this new watch, including just generally the watch layout and functions, training views, how it syncs to the app, and also to the web program, Polar Flow. Also going to cover activity levels, recovery, sleep, and lastly, the accuracy of this wrist tracking. Just to say it up front, I was kindly gifted this watch from Polar Australia. However, this is not a sponsored video. There is a link to the Polar Vantage in the description box below. I really appreciate if you guys use that link if you are interested in checking out more information or making a purchase. Again, this is not a commission link or anything like that. It's just a tracking link so Polar can see that you found the watch through my page, through my YouTube, that kind of thing. Okay, so let's get cracking on the review. I've been using this watch now for a little bit over a week. I'm going to comment on the features that I've used and also the ones that I think you guys would be interested in the most. I'm not going to talk about every feature because let's just try and keep this review short and snappy and to the point. First up, the price. Currently this watch will set you back $400 Australian, which is pricey. It is getting up there in some of the higher end watches. So if you are after simply just like an activity tracker, this isn't the watch for you. This is an advanced running watch, multi-sport watch. If you really are out there like engaging in exercise regularly and perhaps even competitively, this is the kind of watch I would look into, not if you're just looking to kind of get some more steps up and be more active in your everyday life. In terms of the size on the wrist, that's how big it is there. It comes in 3 different colors, I believe. I've got the red here, and there's the sensor on the back, which has the tracking. Personally, the majority of the time, I'm also pairing this watch with the H10 heart rate strap, and I will go into the accuracy of the heart rate strap versus the wrist tracking later in the video. I don't find the heart rate strap annoying at all. I just kind of strap it around here, and once I've got my sports bra on and everything, I just completely forget about it. There's no like rubbing or anything like that. So I'm just going to give you a quick basic rundown of the watch before I'm going to go for a walk, test the GPS, show you guys the training views, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how it all kind of syncs up and some more information available. Okay, so this is the main home screen, I guess, of the watch here. It is not touch sensitive. You can't scroll through. This is up and down buttons for navigation, select. This is a back, and then this is a light. So I'm just going to quickly scroll through each of the views now. This first view shows my daily activity levels, and then if I select on the side here, I can get more information. So you can see 57%, the number of steps I've taken, my active time, and my calories burnt. Back to the main view. This shows my current cardio or training load. I'm just inside the productive zone, and again, if I select on the side here, I can get some more details on that. You've got options of detraining, maintaining, productive, or overreaching, and I'm currently just inside the productive zone. And then as you scroll down, it gives a little bit of a spiel about which zone you happen to be in at the time. Currently training progressively, should be improving my fitness level. Keep it up. Thanks, watch. Much appreciated. Back to the main view. We'll scroll through to the next one. This one show my heart rate. So again, select, and it will start searching for my current heart rate. There's the sensors on the back there. And then finally, you can see the details of your latest training session, which for me was a strength training session earlier this morning. I can go in there and I can see details of this session, as well as all of the other previous sessions for the week. Clicking through, you can see my time, heart rate average and maximum, cardio load, heart rate zones, calories burnt. Back to the main view, and those are all of the settings there. Something also to note, it does sync up to your computer via a USB cord, with this on the back. So you simply just get your watch and clip it in like that, and it begins to sync and charge to your computer. Overall, I've found the battery pretty tolerant so far. I haven't needed to recharge it at all, and I've been using it for about a week, and obviously it's still at 81%. However, the more that you use the GPS, the more you will drain the battery. I should also show that if you press this back button here, you can either start a training session or go to settings. I'll just quickly go to settings. Here we've got general, physical, and watch settings. In the general settings, you can pair and sync either with your phone or with a heart rate strap. And then these are some of the other settings that you can choose through here. Physical settings is more about you, your weight, your height, your age, training background, etc. You can also choose your activity level. I've got mine as activity level 1 because I'm mostly sedentary during the day, having a desk job. And then watch settings is just basic things like how you want the view to look, date, time, etc. Personally, I really like that you are able to manage these settings on the watch itself. In previous Polar watches, you've had to do that all through the app or the online program. So it's really handy for me if you want to be more independent of that technology and you just want to have the watch itself and not be reliant on the app or anything like that. But for now, I'm just going to go for a walk around the block. I don't have the heart rate strap on. It is touching my skin and below my wrist bone. So I'm going to start training. And I'm just going to scroll through my different sport profiles, which I'll show later, and choose walking. Recording started. And these are some of the views that you can get. And I can also show you how you can customize the data that you get for each sport profile the way that you would like it. So I've got heart rate, pace, distance, duration, altitude, and this shows how your current heart rate is comparing to your max and your average throughout the single session. And then that's just the time of day. So I'm just heading for a walk around the block with the watch on just a walking zone, just to have a look at how the GPS goes. I'm sure that many of you that are serious runners, trail runners, probably want to know how the GPS goes, like out in the wilderness. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to drive to the middle of nowhere and see how accurate the GPS is, so just around the block it is, and I hope that this is still useful information for you guys. So this is how this view in particular looks while I am moving. I am walking very slowly at the moment to try and reduce the camera shaking everywhere. It took a minute or two, but the altitude has also now kicked in, showing my gain and descent and overall altitude. And then this is my heart rate, showing my current heart rate at the top, my max for this session, at the bottom, my average for this session, and that left bar on the side shows how I'm faring compared to my overall maximum heart rate. All right, back from my extremely short walk around the block. Look at that, 9 minutes, pathetic. But anyway, to end the session, I just press and hold the back button here. You can either pause it or just to count down, and then the recording ends. Yes, I do want to save this short training session. And then it just gives you a little bit of a summary at the end. And back to the home screen. We can see now that my activity for the day has increased after that session. But now, let's sync it to the app. So before I sync it to the Polar Flow app, just a reminder that you can use this USB cord to connect it to the Polar Flow program on your computer, which then also syncs to the Polar Flow program on the internet. This is also the cord used for charging. Personally, I just prefer the app as it's more convenient over the use of the web app though. Just a note also, I have an Android phone, so if you have an iPhone, this app might appear slightly different. So it prompts you, the app wants to turn on Bluetooth. I want to allow that. Now it's prompting me to press and hold the Polar Vantage back button to sync. And off they go. Alright, so the syncing is now done, and this is where we can see today, 62%, 62%. There's my training session this morning, there's my walk just now. So we may as well start from the start. And I'll put this aside for now, but here is my sleep information from last night. It shows you actual sleep, interrupted sleep, sleep time, start time and end time of when you fell asleep and woke up. And you can also give feedback on your sleep quality. Then throughout today you can see my various kind of activity levels. The light green is like lightly active, darker green is like more active and walking around. The grey is just kind of sitting down. And then my session just now we can click into and see all of the stats around my walking as a bit of a training summary. There's the cardio load, which is also reported cumulatively on the watch. There is my heart rate throughout the walk, and there is the map or GPS route. And yes, that is accurate. It does go along all of the roads. That looks pretty good to me. And you can also report general kind of feedback on how you felt during your session. Heading back, I also just want to show you guys the week view so you can see how you're tracking in terms of active time over the course of the week. Something that I do want to point out, however, is that I mentioned that my activity level was set at level 1 on this watch, and that's because I'm sedentary during the day. And I've had this watch for a week, and before this week I was also wearing another Polar watch which was also set on level 1. And I found that my total overall percentage of activity, it's a lot harder to get to 100% on this watch than it is my old activity tracker. Like if I scroll back, I'm regularly doing over 100% every day, no worries. But the past few days I've found I've kind of struggled to get above 100%. Here's today at 62 after doing a lifting session and a walk this afternoon. 95, 120, that's only because I trained twice in the one day and I did a spin class. 34, 74, that kind of thing. So I guess this is an example of that. This watch is really for people that are training quite regularly. It's probably not for the everyday person that just wants to get active, because you're probably not going to get enough positive feedback. Considering I'm training pretty much every day, even though it's weight training and I'm not getting to 100%, that can be a little bit discouraging for people. So definitely probably more in the athlete space, the training, the endurance, the cardio space than the kind of everyday person. So that's pretty much all that I wanted to show you guys in terms of this activity part of the app. There's also a feed where you can connect with other friends also using Polar, some more sleep information. This is just another way of viewing training, a bit of a training summary here. Any notifications that you may have set, but I did want to show you guys the sport profiles because this is where I think Polar is awesome. So these are the sport profiles that I have synced to this watch. These are the ones that I'm most likely to use. So you can add any profile that you like. There's so many on offer, so many different sports, different speeds of running, different terrains, pretty much everything that you can possibly imagine. There's a heap of different Les Mills classes also programmed in here, and each of them comes with their own settings in terms of if it has a GPS, if you want to know the altitude, split times, things like that. They're all kind of programmed into the profiles, and it also makes it a lot easier if you are a very active person and you're doing lots of different types of activity. It's much easier to kind of keep track of. So you can sync up to 20 of these to your watch. Something that's also handy is you can customize each of these sporting profiles. So if I go edit here for walking, you can automate lap times, you can show different kind of heart rate views, you can choose how you want your speed or pace to be shown, you can customize your heart rate zones. And something that I really like here is that you can customize the actual view of what information is shown on the watch. So currently it's got automatically selected that it's going to show heart rate zone, pace, distance and duration, but you can edit this and you can select from a whole heap of different environment, body measurements, stats, distance measurements, speed measurements, anything that you like. You can shuffle these around and customize the watch face and what stats you exactly want shown for each of the sporting profiles. In terms of the app, that's all that I'm going to show in this video. I hope that it's comprehensive enough for you guys, but please feel free to ask any questions below. And much of this information is pretty much mirrored exactly in the web program. So next up, I'm just going to do a little comparison for you guys of the accuracy of the wrist tracking for the Polar Vantage M versus the H10 heart rate chest strap. So the other day I did a spin class and I synced my old Polar watch to this chest strap, and then also was simultaneously wearing this watch to compare for the wrist heart rate, and these are the results. So I'm a little bit red-faced post spin class, but I was looking at each of the watches as I was doing the workout and just wanted to provide some quick feedback. There was a little bit of a lag time between the chest strap tracking and the wrist tracking. Whenever I went to go and sprint, the watch picking up my chest strap, my heart rate would elevate quite quickly on the watch, whereas it would take longer for the heart rate to pick up on the Vantage, which was detecting my wrist. In general, I also found that my heart rate didn't go as high for the Vantage as it did for the chest tracking, but I'll show you all of those stats now. So just so you can see that the two watches were tracking for pretty much the same amount of time. This one slightly longer because I started it earlier. Comparison of the average and max heart rate for wrist strap for the Vantage and chest strap. Comparison of heart rate zones. The wrist strap has it more in zone 4 and 3, whereas chest strap has it more in the high zone in comparison. And therefore, as you'd expect, because the heart rate was on average higher and also reached a higher maximum for the chest strap tracking, there are more calories burnt compared to the Vantage, which was tracking on the wrist. Alright, so I guess that wraps it up, what I want to say on this new Polar Vantage M multisport GPS watch. Again, I'd really appreciate if you guys click subscribe, and the link to the Polar Vantage M is in the description box below. Again, not a commission link, but I'd really appreciate if you guys click through that link just so Polar can see that this is how you're finding out about the watch through my channel. To summarize, I really love the amount of information that is accessible on the watch alone, and the fact that you're not reliant on the app to kind of go through all of the statistics of your session and how you're tracking for the day, your activity levels, that kind of thing. I really like that the watch can work independently of itself, and really you would expect that considering the price point of $400 Australian. Clearly this watch is very much targeted towards athletes, those of you that are looking to improve your performance and are data nerds really, and you want as much information as you can get, and therefore for that reason I probably wouldn't recommend it for the everyday person, and also kind of my frustration that I expressed about the fact that it's very difficult to reach 100% activity even when you are quite an active person. So definitely targeting for the elite athlete, for people that train across multiple disciplines or are really focused on one in particular. The wrist tracking from Polar definitely has improved over the last couple of years, but I am kind of seeing the same in terms of it does tend to underestimate what your heart rate gets to, what your average heart rate is, and therefore underestimates probably the amount of effort that you're putting into training and the number of calories that you're burning. So for that reason, I would also recommend that you invest in a heart rate strap as well. So that's that. I'm going to really enjoy playing around with this watch some more, getting to know it a little bit better and seeing what else it can offer and how I can improve my training and seeing how it tracks. If you guys have any questions, anything else that you want to know, anything else maybe you'd like me to cover in another video, I'd really appreciate if you left a comment below and I can try and get back to you to the best of my ability. I hope that this review was comprehensive enough. If you did find it comprehensive enough, if you liked this video, if you found it useful in any way in informing your purchases, maybe you're going to hope for it for Christmas, or maybe you're going to buy it for someone else for Christmas. I'd really appreciate it if you guys gave me a thumbs up, and again, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel to see more from me. Otherwise, thanks so much for joining me guys, and I'll see you in the next video.